Welcome to the Vocation of the Business Leader podcast. I'm Greg Belster. Here we explore how Catholic leaders let Christ and the teachings of the church he founded guide their work, integrating faith and business. Each episode offers inspiring stories to help you live an undivided life. Let's meet our guest, Kyle Brandon, Managing Partner at Second Flight Capital. Welcome, Kyle.
Thanks, Greg. I'm really honored to be here and glad to have this conversation with you.
You bet. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Greg, I consider myself kind of unlikely to be in the spot that I'm at. I got theology and counseling degrees from Franciscan University of Steubenville, and have had kind of a zigzag career through mission work, manufacturing operations consulting. Was recruited to an accounting firm, and every step of the way, I felt like the Lord was equipping me as he called me to something. And many years ago, I had the opportunity through the accounting firm to learn about first ESOPs and then mergers and acquisitions. And I met so many wonderful business owners who are doing things for the right reasons, and that has really inspired this journey. So my wife and I, we took the plunge about three years ago into business ownership. We've got 6 kids. We live in Dayton, Ohio.
That's great. Sounds like you're blessed. So I was going to ask you about that. So a bachelor's in theology and a master's in counseling. So what were you planning to do with that?
So the original plan was youth ministry, and that worked out pretty well for me because even though I only did it on a volunteer basis, that is where I met my wife. And so, some eternal benefits of that path. But I actually started working for a missionary group called Glen Mary Home Missioners, and I was doing kind of a screening and inviting young men to consider priesthood and brotherhood. And boy, you meet some incredible people, Greg, when you're going around the country and talking about that sort of work. I had a boss that joked with me that if you can sell poverty, chastity, and obedience, you can sell anything. So that's the guy that ultimately hired me into manufacturing consulting.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. So, so from there, where did you go?
The story of mentorship is one where I've just been blessed, and I went to that group. He had another good quip. He said, "You've got all the talents, but none of the skills that I'm looking for. I'll give you a shot." And I appreciated that. Right. I as I get older, I appreciate that more and more. Right. God equips us with an avocation, right? Something that we're inclined to be good at and to do. And he saw that in me, thankfully. So gave me a shot with no skills, and really kind of gave me an incredible MBA over the next 5 years, in experience of just going business to business to business and learning. And it was at the accounting firm, which came after that. They recruited me away, and they gave me the chance to learn. I'll tell you, Greg, about the story of the folks that originally inspired Second Flight. About 10 years ago, there's a company in Dayton called Dayton Phoenix Group, and they've given me permission to use their name here. Run by Gail Cookin and Christy Fox. And I originally went in there. We were talking about the parameters of an ESOP, selling the business to the employees. And we talked for several hours. I was really inspired by the reason and the logic behind it. I think we've seen a lot of this in Ohio. I think it's true across the country. There's an uptick in ESOP as a way to care for employees long term. It's great when it works, right? It doesn't work for everybody. And it didn't work for them. So we had that discussion about why it wouldn't be a fit. There were a lot of reasons. And we came to the end of that discussion, and Gail he blew my doors off and shared something that really inspired me. He said, "Kyle, I've made my money. I've done what I need to do, and I need to find a solution that will ensure that my employees are cared for long into the future. So I'm not willing to sell to someone who will sell it again." And I thought, my goodness, this is an incredible business. 350 employees, wonderful manufacturer. And he can't find a buyer because they don't share the same legacy goals. I said, surely somebody will share this vision. And, at the time, I didn't find much. Spent a long time, another year at Clark Schaefer Hackett, walking through what would be possible. How could you structure something like this? A permanent hold situation, which of course is now quite popular, right? There are a number of smaller and even some medium-sized boutique firms that do this. And that was one of the core premises of what Second Flight was founded upon, honoring that original legacy of the owner, caring for the employees. And because we're Catholic, we think about subsidiarity and solidarity and human dignity. We care for the community, and then we infuse our faith into our work.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's back up a little bit. So you went to Franciscan. So what was your early faith journey like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my story, like the broader witness story, is one of protection. I was born Catholic, into a mostly Catholic environment. And I had the opportunity to see some great priests, to see some holy lay people that really inspired me to pursue my faith. And through the Lord's prompting, I started, going to daily mass in 5th and 6th grade. Continued that largely through high school. And then, of course, at Franciscan, the cultural stream is very much, I think at the time it was 90 or 95% of the students went to daily mass or something incredible like that. That may still be true. My daughter will be going there next year. We'll find out. So the people that I've been surrounded with have been consistently loving the Lord and inspiring. And I think in that way I've been protected. I've been shown the way to love Jesus.
So what do you think is lacking in, it seems like faith is having a big comeback, but there's still so many youth that are lost. So what do you think in your situation is different than in what people could do about it?
Boy, that's a great question. I think this is just Kyle's opinion, but I think it's become normative to numb ourselves, particularly with screens. Certainly can do with just about anything, but that's become more the norm, and I think that's the reason both for kind of the degradation of the faith of the youth and also the comeback of the faith of the youth. So, it is the normal cultural stream, but God made us for hunger and for Him. And, we, youth ministry, talk about that God-shaped hole. That's real, right? We all have that hunger and that longing for more, for meaning, for God. And when we get that first taste of it, it's satisfying, right? And as they say, that the darker the dark, the more impactful the light. I think that's why we're experiencing a comeback, because people recognize the void more easily when God is less in our cultural interactions and in our day-to-day.
Yeah. So when you tell us about what was going on when you decided to go out on your own and start the buying a business and all the risky from not being an employee.
Yes, yeah. Well, there was a lot going on in my heart at that time, I'll tell you that. I probably left to my own devices would never take the risk. It took a combination of a couple of really key factors. First, the Lord brought into my life gentleman who's now my business partner. His name is Bob Schwab, incredible man. And he was going through a coaching program called IPAC at the time. Been encouraged by friends to lean into this kind of natural gift that he had for mentoring and coaching others. And we were part of a group. We go to mass, men's group. We go to mass on Wednesday morning and grab a cup of coffee and shoot the breeze. It's loosely affiliated kind of Catholic friendship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he grabbed me after coffee one day and he said, "Hey, Kyle, why haven't you done that thing that you talked about so many years ago? Because there's a big gap between, dreaming about this and doing this, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Wow, Bob, Bob, if I'm being honest, I'm scared. I'm scared of the entrepreneurial risk, right? I've got an established and growing family that I have practical considerations here." And he said, "Well, what if I coach you?" And that turned into working with me, right? So he didn't know what he was signing up for, poor guy. But the other piece was, I think I needed, and it has not been my experience in life that the Lord talks to me this way, but I needed something very direct from the Lord to take that leap. What I found was there was a pretty big gap in trust in my relationship with Him. I say I would trust Jesus, but then I relied on myself. And so I was doing an Exodus 90 retreat at the time. It was about halfway through. And I was very deeply and intentionally praying, "Lord, what do you want me to do next?" And I had an incredible experience, Greg, if you don't mind if I share it with you.
Yeah.
I was sitting there with my Bible closed on my lap, early in the morning, as Exodus encourages you to do. And I heard the Lord say Hebrews 11:8, kind of in the hearing that your heart does, not in the hearing that your ears do. And I did not know what Hebrews 11:8 was. A lot of my Protestant brothers and sisters, as I've told this story, have said, "Oh yeah, fantastic, good for you on knowing it. I did not." And so Hebrews 11:8 is, "And Abraham, by faith, obeyed God and went to the land that would later become his inheritance, even though he did not know where he was going." And that's the part that really struck me. It struck my wife when I shared it with her. I said, I think we're doing this thing. And so that's what it took for me. The Lord needs to, the slow ones in the class get a little extra help, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't know what that one was either. So did you, when you started, how long did it take you to find your first company?
Oh, that's a great story, Greg. So I officially launched on the Feast of St. Joseph in May of 21. And then I quit my job in March of 22. And I went from March of 22 until November of 23 before we completed our first acquisition. And boy, it's so much grace and growth and virtue in the middle of that. I think the Lord showed me so much that I didn't know. I mean, I knew I didn't know a lot, right? But there was another level of knowledge of not knowing. And we had 2 failed deals in the middle of that process, right? And boy, the learning from going through it, grinding through it, and failing was, frankly, I learned, as they say, right? You learn 10 times as much from failure as success. That was absolutely true in our case.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, how did you handle all those ups and downs, and what were some of the lessons that you learned?
Yeah. So again, a big shout out to my business partner, Bob, who is such a strong mindset man, ability to shape and look at that and find the good in it, find the gift in the challenge. But candidly, there was just a lot of grace in it too. I also felt like the Lord was just saying, "That's okay. We got another one." It took us less than a week in both instances. The Lord just laid in our lap the next thing. And again, might have needed that, right? So the second deal came immediately on the heels of the first deal failing. The third deal came immediately on the heels of the second deal failing. And the lesson for me, and I think there was some for just about everyone in our orbit, our leadership team that's doing the operating. I think the Lord was working on us in different ways, but for me, it was trust. It was trust. I thought I trusted the Lord, and now I know I'm in the early part of the journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So was that Qualtronics that the first one?
That's right. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. The first one was Qualtronics.
Mm-hmm. And so um, you buy the business, and then you announce it to the employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did they take it, and what was that like?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I'm going to shout out to somebody different here. Tim Freeze is the CEO of our platform, which is called Corterra. So core in Latin is heart. Terra is earth or foundation. So our it's foundation of the heart. And Qualtronics is within that platform. And Tim, who did a lot of that communicating, he's a master communicator, really mindful of kind of the emotion and considerations for others. And as we were communicating that, there was some nervousness. One of my favorite stories that happened early in Qualtronics, it takes a couple months. People are a little more show me, right? In that kind of situation. We've all heard the stories of what happens with private equity, and some of them are good and some of them are not, right?
Yeah.
And, one of the employees came up afterward and said, "You said nothing was really going to change." And that is, it's almost a cliche, right? From private equity, right? Nothing's going to change, right?
Right. Right.
Which people say with humor now. And they said, and that wasn't true. And Tim, kind of freeze up like, whoa. And he said, but everything that changed needed to happen. And we're so grateful that you're here. So, it was, we definitely have had, a substantial amount of change through the businesses. But what we got right was, leaders who cared about their people. And these were good people with tremendous potential. And that's what we're about, is lifting folks up. And, if you'll allow me to brag on Tim, and then Luke, our COO, and Josh, our CFO,
Mm-hmm.
who joined us more recently. They've made 16 promotions within the business over that time. We've done a tremendous amount of training, and then across multiple businesses, they're working together to learn and form culture. We're just incredibly proud of the work that they're doing. So,
That's great. That's great. So as an investment firm, you have to have returns.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance taking care of the people and doing what's right and getting good returns?
Mm-hmm. You work with quality people. That's how you do it. That's maybe the secret and answer to everything. One of the things I think Bob and I are most proud of, if we did anything right, the folks that we call mission partners, the investors, that is just a beautiful group of human beings. The vast majority of them are business owners, and they care about human beings. Of course, they want a fair return. Of course, they want a good return. Patient capital is a common term. You could use that term. We don't use that term internally, but we've talked about 2 layers of impact, or 2 layers of ROI, if you will: the return on investment and the return on impact. You'll have to stay tuned, because we're in the process of kind of codifying exactly what return on impact metrics we will use. As of right now, it's anecdotal stories of generosity up and down the organization. We're seeing our people doing it for one another, which is beautiful. But we are in the process of codifying that. And then, because we're buy and hold, we have a unique structure, which it tends to attract people quickly or repel people quickly, which is ideal. And Bob and I are very serious. We actually turned down capital in the raise process. because we thought that there wasn't equality enough values alignment. There's plenty of good people that won't see things the way we do. So um, that's something we're pretty proud of.
Mm-hmm. What do you think Christian investors uniquely bring to the capital market that secular ones miss?
Mm. I think leadership done in a Christian manner. I think I'm stealing this from Father Nathan Cromley, who you had on your
Yes,
podcast
good
earlier.
stuff.
Well, he's
Yeah,
good. He's so good.
he's really good.
What a gift to the church his ministry is. Christian leadership done properly is filled with virtue and should be better necessarily because it's humanistic. It's personalistic. I guess I'll use John Paul II's word. We care about the dignity of the human person, and I'm a person who believes that if you care for people and you serve them and you do the right thing for them, they will do more for you. That's not why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why we do it is because of their dignity and their goodness. And we want to serve and love our customers, and we want to serve and love our employees. But the effect of that, which is a deeply core Christian principle of loving the other, that the effect of that is better productivity, more engaged employees, happier customers. It may take longer. That's hard to measure quarter to quarter. But my goodness, you see businesses with leadership teams that truly love their people and love their customers. You can almost guarantee, right? You've got a quality culture and you've got a thriving business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So speaking of Father Nathan, you were telling me that he was instrumental in acquiring one of your businesses.
He was. It's an incredible story. So our second business, so Tim Freeze, the same, see, had sent me his podcast, Dare Great Things for Christ, right? And I really enjoyed it. And I saw that he was coming to Ohio to do a marriage night. So I elbowed my wife and I said, "Hey, dear, I want to meet this guy. He's really got something. I like what he's talking about." Many days provided a pick me up, thinking about, our role as business leaders is to have courage, go do it. And so we went to this marriage night, and I met him, and I told him the second flight story. He said, "Kyle, that's neat. Okay, well, I'm going to give that some thought." Right? I didn't think much about it. Right? And at the same time, one of our mission partners or folks that were in the circle made an introduction to Sandy and Kurt Wells and Jerry Wells, another one of the owner, although we didn't meet him in that meeting. And they had a business called Panel Control. And they're in Anna, Ohio, just incredible Catholic business leaders who had been pouring into their people. And Father Nathan was their chaplain. He'd been working with them through St. John Leadership Institute. And boy, they just developed an incredible culture there. So we have this lunch set up. We show up, introduce ourselves, and Sandy says to me, "We're second flight, and Kyle, blah, blah, blah." And she says, oh, we know about you. Father Nathan told us all about you. We would like to have this conversation about our business with you guys. And I was blown away. I was so moved. So he had that conversation behind the scenes, offered his impression of us to her, and really greased the wheels for those discussions. They are, I really believe they're a model of Catholic business leadership, and Father Nathan's kind of helped them get there. So it's a pretty neat story. And he, by the way, is the chaplain for our businesses now. So full circle.
Very good. Very good. So tell us about Panel Control.
Yeah. So they built electrical panels. Great business in I said Anna, Ohio, which we kind of jokingly call God's country. It's an incredible area of the country. So for those of you listening, not in Ohio, there's this place a bit north of Dayton that was settled by German Catholic farmers, and to this day remains just a bastion of faith and hard work and American values that are just truly inspiring. I love this area of the country. If we weren't so rooted here in Dayton, this would be, near the top of the list of places to move, because although it's not perfect like anywhere, right? The caliber of the character of people that live there is just beautiful. PCI, as we call it, became the second business within the Cortera platform, of course, connects, no pun intended, with wire harness at Qualtronics, and then we are in the process of doing our third deal, hopefully to be closed by the end of this month.
Awesome. So tell us about your vision for Cortera.
Yeah. So at the second flight level, we try our best not to be prescriptive, but at the same time, you always care about how your baby grows up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so proud of what they've done. They use, I think they synergized our set of values so well, in that they want to grow people personally, professionally, and spiritually, starting with our employees. And I think that so well captured the ethos of what we're about. How do we really care about the whole human person, not just the wage that you're getting in the 8 hours of your workday week.
So how has the reception been from the employees on this culture?
And again, I think it's related to the people, but thanks be to God, fantastic so far. There are going to be times, I'm sure, in the future where we're going to have challenges, or you have to get people on the right seats in the bus, and sometimes that requires an honest and hard conversation. Might be about your talents and skills, might be about your effort, but that sort of honesty is required to love people fully. And if you want to help someone be the best they can be, occasionally it's a correction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so far so good. We've had a number of those circumstances, but from my somewhat outside view, gone very well. There will be many challenges, no doubt, around that in the future. But it's critical for us to call people to be their very best. Business excellence is, we consider that a given, right? Part of Christian leadership.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is the vocation of the business leader?
Wow. You're asking me the spot that you're gifted at right there, right? There's a great quote. Boy, there's so many great quotes, actually. Mother Teresa has a quote that I'll paraphrase about God gives us talents and skills, and if we don't use them to the best of our ability, then we're not honoring Him, right? My favorite quote in the world comes from John Paul II, St. John Paul II, who said that that each person was made in the image and likeness of God, and therefore the only adequate response to persons is love. And I can't give a better answer than him.
Yeah. God is love. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's our responsibility to love through commerce.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what's next for Cortera?
Well, hopefully by the end of the month we'll have number 3, and then we've certainly got a few others headlamped of what could be coming next. It's a funny thing to say it this way, but we're going to be very focused over the course of the next year, not only on the proximate acquisitions that the Lord wants us to do, but also on the profitability of the business. We have a strong business, and we want to make it impenetrable. That has a number of effects, of course, for our mission partners, of course, for the stability of the business and the long-term security of the employees, but also no money, no mission, as they say. We want to be able to find those, or take those creative ideas that we have about caring for people, whether that's through benefits, whether that's through programs, through whatever it is. And we want to create room in order to do those things. So we have big dreams.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. What's the best place for people to learn about Cortera and Second Flight Capital? And
Yeah, both of our websites are the name, CorteraGroup.com, SecondFlightCapital.com, and they can find out a little more about our mission, how we do it, we are always looking for folks of like mind, whether they will join us or be a mission partner or anything. I just love meeting folks who resonate with the mission.
Mm-hmm. So, what is a good potential mission partner?
Oh, good question. Yeah. So the shares a value set from a faith perspective of caring for people. That often translates into patience, right? Or could translate, has the potential to translate into patience from a capital perspective because we're buy and hold. Someone who's an accredited investor. It's someone who wants to be, a little more involved than just a passive investment. We have a couple of folks that do that too, and that perfectly fine. I love the folks that call me up and say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to care for our second chance employees? Right. I have a conversation with one of our mission partners going on how we can really dial in on the metrics of impact, like I mentioned before. I mean, that's incredible to be able to talk about with a business owner who's owned a business for 30 years, to walk through that and get wisdom. So we get a group of 16 folks that are just incredible human beings.
Awesome. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about you. I felt like this was very one-sided, Greg. I think there was a scripture verse that I was reading yesterday. I was meeting with two of my mission partners, and we were talking about creating permanence in legacy and how to do that. And I read the passage from Corinthians just before the meeting, I think by the Spirit, not by chance, but I wish I could remember where exactly it was. Maybe 1 Corinthians 3, that may or may not be accurate, but it was I, meaning Paul, planted, Apollos watered, God gave the increase, so that neither he who plants nor he who waters matters, but the one who gives the increase. So to God be the glory for what success we have.
That's all you can say. That's amen to that. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for your time, and Godspeed on this acquisition and many more.
So, thank you very much, brother. Yeah, I appreciate you, Greg.
You bet. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Vocation Business Leader Podcast. We hope you found inspiration as we explore the powerful union of faith and business. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, share it, and leave a review. Until next time, may God guide your work and help you witness His love in all you do. God bless.